See, true love, she used to leave here before, but I done messed up and threw her out the door. Now I don't feel irate like I used to before. All the things we used to say, on the way we used to play, how we used to play. Now there's an emptiness inside of my soul.
So, good afternoon, Yemi. How are you?
I'm very well. Very nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me. What does Kosibah mean to you?
First of all, the name Kosibah, which most people ask me where it comes from, is a variation of my mother's name. My mother originally comes from Republic of Benin, and a girl born on a Sunday is called Kosibah, spelled with a C with an A at the end. So I decided to change the C to a K and I put an H at the end. And the reason I chose that was I chose that name when I was 16. So I thought about it way back then because I was about to do a fashion show in Nigeria for the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. And they said I had to come up with a name. Now, way back then, I decided I wanted to separate myself from my label because I think sometimes it's good for the clothes to speak for themselves without you putting too much of your personal life into your work. And my mom had been very supportive. Even then, at the age of 16, she knew I wanted to do fashion. Both my parents were really supportive about it, and I just thought it's the best way to sort of pay homage to her, but also to get a name that would it sounds African, but it can also
transcend.
Yes.
To the white audience.
Yes.
What is your specialty, again, for those who don't know you?
Over the years, my silhouette has become figure enhancing, to be honest, which is recreating the classical hourglass figure, and I do that through the way I cut my patterns and the corsetry within, inside of the dress. And I was inspired by Anthony Price. Not many people know who Anthony Price is, but he used to make dresses for the late Paula Yates and Mick Jagger's ex-wife, the model. But these dresses were almost like gravity defying. You could see the waist was nipped in and it's almost hanging there. And you just knew that there was something inside the dress to make that happen.
To the trained eye.
Yes. And I just thought, no, this is something I want to be able to do this. And over the years, I have developed lots of techniques to refine what I do, because I believe that you're constantly improving. You're never there. You're constantly striving to do better.
And that's been a signature.
It has.
So in the bridal world as well as evening wear.
Yes,
because
that's
a lot of
right.
people don't know you also do evening.
I actually, you see, what I do, how I explain what I do is bridal, evening, and formal day wear. Basically, I can do anything, but it's all bespoke. It's all made with couture techniques.
By hand.
But there's lots of hand finishing there. So regardless of what the dress is going to be used for, it's still the same method. If someone comes to me and say I want a day dress, I'm not going to say because it's a day dress I'm going to cut and sew it. No, I was trained in a particular way, which is sort of old school couture, very labor intensive, which is why invariably most of what I do is bridal and evening wear. But I do have clients that just want fitted day dresses that they wear to the office, executive women, and it's a service I provide as well. Has been a very good year so far. I've had lots of bridal clients get married. I've been to Nigeria 4 times this year, and I'm due to go twice again, once in October, once in December. Fantastic. And I've also just returned from a fashion show in Barcelona, Africa Fashion Week, Barcelona. I've had an award through the National Wedding Show, and at that time I was the only black designer on the amongst 9 designers that were considered. and I came third, so I got a special recognition within the National Wedding Show.
In the UK?
In the UK,
Yes.
yes. And then also I won Designer of the Year, Mahogany Designer of the Year, 2004 and 2006.
Yes.
And I've won an award from City People, which was my first Nigerian award, which I was very happy to receive.
Yay.
And another occasion, I would say, was when I was invited to St. James's Palace by His Royal Highness Prince Charles, and it was to celebrate people of African descent doing good things in the UK. And also I dressed the press secretary of His Royal Highness for Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge's wedding, but I wasn't allowed to talk about it. That was part of the agreement, which I did honor, and I think she put my name forward as well. I would say the average Kosibah client is a woman that appreciates and knows the value of couture, or wants something different, but without it being over the top or veering into costume. Very classic designs that are not boring, but they're almost like investment pieces. And you know, I can bring dresses that I made maybe 10-15 years ago, and you probably wouldn't know when it was made, because it's a classic line. It doesn't follow trends too slavishly, so they can transcend time. So the sort of client that would appreciate that sort of thing, and they're mostly professional women that obviously can afford to pay the amount such would cost. And they are, all races: black, white, Asian, tall, short, slip. Because I don't deal in dress sizes, I deal in the individual. I just have the person in front of me. What can I do to flatter and accentuate the body of the person in front of me?
And I've seen your work as you talk to the brides or the new clients. You'll be talking, by the end of the conversation, you've had a sketch ready. I can see some amazing sketches on the wall behind yourself.
Yes.
That are typical of your way of working, and that could have been made of a 35 to 45 minute conversation. Not many designers work that way.
I'm that's one of my unique selling points as well. Apart from the figure enhancing garments I make, I'm very good at drawing, if I say so myself. And I'm able to draw out information from clients. They might not realize how much information they're giving out, because they'll come to me saying, "No, I haven't got a clue what I want." But there are various questions I ask them: the venue of what the event is for, the time of year, cultural, religious requirements, things they don't like. Everybody has body issues. So I want to know what you're not comfortable with in your body, and also what you're proud of your body. And I try and minimize the parts they don't like, and I try and enhance the parts they like.
So you're making every woman's dream come
Exactly.
true.
No one. Hello, how you doing? My angel, my one and only. The only one that I'm missing. Where they bring me joy.
So I was really honored and quite delighted to be approached by Sonny Nissen, who wanted to have a special dress for her engagement to her fiance, Danny Andre, who happens to be Peter Andre's brother. And she had quite a few ideas of how she wanted her dress to be. I was very privileged and delighted to be approached through K Flawless PR, a client, Sonny Nissen, to make a dress for her engagement to her fiance, Danny Andre. And she had some specific ideas of what she wanted, and K Flawless PR just made the whole thing quite seamless and very, very easy.
Great. So that was the engagement party, actually. So I think whatever wedding dress she chooses is going to be really hard to beat.
We shall see. And I was fortunate that the engagement party was actually featured in
OK Magazine UK.
There were 6 pages.
Yes. 6 pages. Right. So we've covered the shows, the awards, charities. I know that you support always, and is an advocate and not afraid to talk your mind whenever needed. Are there any charities you're supporting? And
yes, I do support a charity called Tea.
Yes.
And what Tea supports is Alzheimer's. So it's the raising of awareness and also trying to raise funds to further the raising of awareness of Alzheimer's, both within Black and white community. Because I think Alzheimer's is one of the Cinderella charities, even though it's quite widespread. A lot of people before didn't talk, if their relatives have Alzheimer's, they're, sort of shut away and nobody talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
But this charity, which was founded by a very good friend of mine,
yes,
and she does a fashion show, and the person that she set it for liked to wear the gele, which is the Nigerian head tie, and she also liked going for afternoon tea. So my friend,
as you do,
combine the two things to form Tea, so that while we're raising awareness of Alzheimer's, it's done in a very elegant surroundings, but we know we're there for the cause.
I know also that you obviously are in high demand, and I'm pretty sure you get inundated with CVs and interns application. People desperate to get even mentored by you. Do you work with your students?
I do. And the reason I do is that when I was studying fashion, I went to a private college where work experience was not something they offered to the students. So everything I've learned as I've been going through my business. So even though I've survived 23 years, it's been quite a challenge. And I just feel that in an ideal world, that's not the way to go. I had a degree in fine art, which I got from the university in Nigeria. So I'd done 4 years, and I didn't want to do 4 years of going to London College of Fashion or Central St. Martin's. I just wanted to know how to make a pattern, how to cut, how to sew, basics of dressmaking, couture dressmaking, which is what this college did perfectly for me. So I offer young students, both still in universities or have just finished, just to know that sometimes what you learn in college and real life are two different things entirely. It's important to learn what you are being taught, but also it's also important to know the reality of how you run a business, the fact that talent and ideas are not enough. You're running a business.
Yes.
You have to balance between the mundane parts of running a business and also keep coming up with fresh ideas. But also I try and give them best practice. I can only have so many people in the studio at one time. So I actually have a vetting process almost.
Indeed, my God, and it must be hard.
Well, it is, but I just like, I feel there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of techniques that I've developed over the years, and I believe there's enough work to go around for everybody. So I'm happy to share.
Leading on to the fashion industry, because obviously you're almost reaching up for, let's say 25 young years soon, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of brands come and go. What is your take on the current fashion industry?
In Africa?
More so, yes, African
I
designers.
think it has come in leaps and bounds. I mean, when I started, you could count on your fingers how many designers there were. At that time, the fact that my parents supported me in being a designer was quite rare at that time. But now, you know, I almost compare it to playing football. There was a time your parents would say, stop playing football, go in and study. But now, if your child is able to play football, you think David Beckham, and you sort of encourage them to play football. That's almost how it is now with design. But it's really fantastic, and the fashion shows that came up, you know, Arise in its time.
Yes.
The fashion shows, Fashion Weeks in Johannesburg,
Yes.
Ghana Fashion Week. It's just helped to almost
Create more platforms.
yes, and to raise the bar. It was almost given a bit of validation
Yes.
by designers like Burberry and other designers using African print, even though Nigerian designers or African
Been around.
designers had been doing that. But you know, sometimes I just believe whatever helps, you know, just
Exactly.
accept it and use
And
it to your
embrace it.
advantage. Exactly. So you know, you have African print being displayed in Vogue. I mean, there was a conference I was invited to in Vienna to talk about that very subject.
Yes.
And you know, it's just great. So I'm really, really impressed with the current crop of African designers, and I think it's now
To stay.
it's here
not
to
a
stay.
trend.
It's not a trend anymore. Absolutely
Definitely.
not. It's not a trend, and also they are now inculcating the discipline of seasons, and you know, bringing out collections and
Which
having
was
your
an
collections
issue.
cohesive. You know, so they stand on par with other international designers.
And yes, there was a time where they were not necessarily in season, did not understand demands of the industry, but did not understand why. And I think
That's
it was
right.
more a question of discipline and
Yes.
understanding the business
Yes.
of fashion,
Yeah.
rather than thinking people don't necessarily want to include you, because you clearly are a testimony amongst other big designers that it is possible.
Of course, and I
to
mean,
make a
if
living.
I could do it, anybody can really. So
Yes, we can.
it's not an impossible dream, and that's why I tell young designers now that you're actually at the best time to strike a mark. When I started, to get known, you have to curry favor with fashion editors of magazines that probably come out 3 months in advance, and a client might buy the magazine and throw it away, or it might be for a magazine that people may or may not read, and you spend loads of money. But now with social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
It's the explosion.
yes,
It's now.
you're dealing directly either with the buyers or with
The
the end
consumer.
client. You don't, you know, and you are in control of your destiny, and it's all free. So you know, I really tell people that sort of scoff about Instagram. It's not about taking pictures of food and selfies. I mean, that has its own place, but using it really.
To the best of your advantage.
Yes, you
and
can
promote
actually do good business. I mean, within the last I'd say 2 months, I've actually got 4 clients for the end of this year,
Thanks to
leading up
social
to next
media.
year, due to Instagram.
Baby girl, you take my heart away.
And more African designers get stuck in places that you wouldn't have thought would have been
Yes,
stuck.
yes. I mean, and also collaborations. You know, people
Yes.
collaborating with lipstick manufacturers, or you know, designers in Italy, Italian Vogue. It's just amazing. So
Yes, we're living in good years, and I think Selfridges picked up
That's
one,
right.
2 MT Lagos
That's
and
right.
picked 4 brands or 5 brands,
Yeah.
and stuck them in Selfridges for about 3
quite-
to 4
quite a
months,
while.
quite a
Yeah.
while.
Right.
Never, ever, next to Vivian Westwood and Joseph, never
That's right.
in a million years people would have thought
yeah.
that Nigerian brands would just land on Selfridges shop floor, ever, and it's happening.
There are designers in Nigeria, and in particular in Africa
Yes.
in general, that are doing amazing work. I have seen, you know, through portals like Bella Niger,
Yes.
Bellows blog.
Yes.
You know, I've seen some really, really impressive stuff, and you know, you can
Shadows
just
for the
tell
Ghanaians,
that
yeah.
a lot of professionalism is there, and it makes me really happy.
It raises the bar, very, very high. So we know also that you are internationally known, and you're known to be flown around the world a lot, actually, throughout Africa, not just Nigeria. So any particular new countries or places, exotic places you're going to be going to this year?
Well, as it happens, next week, myself and my assistant are being flown out to Kinshasa Fashion Week in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Fantastic.
That came about because they were very impressed with the collection I showed in Barcelona, and immediately contacted me and said, well, we'll do whatever it takes to get you to Kinshasa to show at our show. And after telling them my terms and they met with that, I'm happy to say that I'll be going next week. I've also been invited to do a fashion show in Cameroon in November.
Fantastic.
And that should be very good as well. And I have a few brides that are getting married, Nigeria, various places in Nigeria, and also other places that I'm going to be flying out to dress them.
Fantastic. And where in Cameroon are you going to be going to? Douala? I'm testing you. I forgive you because I suppose that it would be.
Is that the capital, right?
Yeah, and it's French-speaking part. So get ready to practice your French, Yemi. Un peu. So it's great. New territories for you.
Yeah.
It's your first time in Kinshasa?
I've never been to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I've never been to Cameroon.
Exactly. So 2 more new countries on your map. Wow, the world is your oyster and the sky is the limit. Thank you very much.